All right, so are you ready to dive into the wicked world of game audio?
I am ready.
It's like way more intense than people think.
Oh,
We're
absolutely.
talking like those crazy good soundscapes that make or break your favorite games.
Yeah, it's so easy to focus on the visuals, but without the audio, forget about it.
Totally. We are checking out this book, Game Audio with FMOD and Unity.
Oh, yeah, I love that one.
And let me tell you, it is the real deal.
It's so cool how they actually walk you through building a game with custom sound design.
Right.
It's crazy practical.
Just got to break this down. FMOD and Unity, two powerhouses.
Yeah.
For those of us who aren't coding wizards, what are these exactly? And why are they like the dream team of game audio?
Okay, so imagine Unity as the foundation, right? It's the game engine where you get all the visuals, characters, the whole world. Now, FMOD, it's like the sound engineer for that world.
Gotcha.
It controls how all those sounds behave and come to life inside the game.
So if Unity's the stage, then FMOD's like making sure all the sound cues are hitting perfectly.
That is a great way to put it.
Right.
But here's the thing. Games aren't like movies with a pre-planned soundtrack,
True.
They have to be interactive. The audio needs to react to what the player is doing, instantly.
Wow, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. So sound designers, they've got to think differently.
Right.
They create these systems where sounds are triggered by, in-game events.
Okay.
Let's say footsteps.
Yeah.
We didn't just have one sound, right?
No way. It would be different on wood than on like metal or grass.
Exactly. And even then, you'd need variations for how fast the player's moving, if they bump into a wall, all that.
Wild.
That's where the magic of FMOD comes in this whole event system.
Right.
So sound designers, they use it to create all these triggers and variations. It's all connected to the player's actions in the Unity engine.
That sounds seriously complicated. Like you'd almost need a PhD.
Oh, for sure.
And speaking of which, how do they even deal with repetition? Like hearing the same sound effect on repeat just ruins it for me.
Tell me about it. Repetitive sounds can kill a game's vibe. The book actually mentions this classic example, the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah.
That yell they use in tons of movies and games.
Right.
So iconic, but they've used it so much it's almost a joke now. And it just shows how overusing a sound can totally take you out of the experience.
Yeah, it's like that feeling when you see the same background character copied and pasted everywhere in a game.
Oh, totally.
Your brain is just like, nope, not real.
Exactly. That's why FMOD has these really cool randomization features.
Randomization. All right, now you're speaking my language. Tell me more.
So instead of having one sound file for, say, swords clashing, you have multiple versions.
Okay.
And FMOD can be programmed to pick one randomly each time.
Oh, that's cool.
It might be subtle changes in the pitch or volume, maybe even where the sound is coming from.
So every fight sounds unique, even if they're using similar bass sounds.
Exactly. It's all about keeping things fresh and realistic.
This is blowing my mind. I mean, I knew sound design was a thing, but the detail is incredible.
Right.
I'm curious, though. With all these variations and layers, doesn't that get crazy with file sizes? Especially now with these massive games and apps. Storage space is precious.
You are absolutely right. It's a balancing act. Sound design isn't just about creating the coolest sounds. It's about working within the limits of technology. File size, huge factor. In fact, this book actually mentions that for iOS apps, you only get 150 millibit max.
Oh, for the entire game?
Yep. Graphics, code, audio, everything.
That's insane. There's barely any room for a full soundtrack.
I know, right? That's why sound designers are so incredibly talented. They're masters of compression and making the most of every single kilobyte.
It's like composing a whole symphony on a tiny little keyboard.
Right. They have to get so creative.
It really shows how much thought goes into like every beep and boop you hear.
Absolutely. It's not just random. There's a reason for every sound.
You know, it reminds me of this game I played. It was a thriller set in this creepy abandoned city.
Oh, okay, I think I know the one.
And the way they used sound to build tension was just like chef's kiss.
Oh, yeah.
The rain, right? Like dripping from broken windows and sirens in the distance. Seriously creepy.
That's the beauty of, what do they call it? Environmental storytelling.
Right.
It's not just background noise. It sets the mood, even guides you without you realizing it.
Totally. I was on edge the whole time, even when nothing was happening.
Exactly. The best sound design works its magic without you even knowing.
Right.
It just pulls you right in and makes the whole thing hit harder emotionally.
So we've talked to individual sounds, variations, even atmosphere, but what about putting it all together?
Ah, yes, mixing the unsung hero.
Right.
You can't just have great sounds. They have to blend together
Perfectly
perfectly.
balanced.
Exactly. And lucky for us, FMOD is amazing for this.
Oh, yeah.
They have these really powerful tools to control how every single element interacts with the others.
So it's like a, what do you call it, a virtual mixing board where they can adjust and add effects?
Yes. But here's the thing. In games, unlike movies, the mixing happens live.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. FMOD allows for dynamic mixing, so the audio can literally change based on what's happening in the game.
Okay, hold on. That's next level stuff. Give me an example.
All right, so imagine your players in a forest, right? Birds chirping, leaves rustling, all peaceful.
Okay, I'm there.
Suddenly, bam! Ambush. Enemies everywhere. Now the mix changes instantly. Louder weapons, explosions, maybe even muffling those forest sounds a bit.
Whoa, so it reacts to the action in real time.
Exactly. It's all about that dynamic soundscape, building up the excitement, the immersion, everything.
Man, this is making me realize how much work goes into even the simplest sounding games.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a whole art form.
It truly is. And it all comes back to that perfect partnership between FMOD and Unity.
Right, like two sides of the same coin.
Exactly. Unity sets the stage, FMOD brings the sound, and boom, you've got a world that feels real.
It's incredible, honestly.
And the coolest part is it's still evolving.
Really?
Oh yeah, new technology pops up all the time. Who knows what the future holds for game audio? It's exciting.
That's awesome. You know, we always talk about graphics and gaming, but sound design has come so far, too.
Oh, for sure. It's like the unsung hero of gaming. We've all had that moment where like a game's atmosphere just sucks you right in.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of that is the sound design, you know?
Absolutely. It's like watching a movie on your phone versus like a full-blown theater experience.
Exactly. And like a movie score can make a scene, right?
Wow.
Sound design can make or break a game.
Totally.
It's not even just what you hear, it's how it makes you feel. You know what I mean?
Speaking of feel, okay, you talk tech stuff, but what about the artistic side? How does a sound designer even start creating a whole soundscape for a game?
Yeah.
Where do they even begin?
That's a great question. It's where the real magic happens. You know, it usually starts with research, like they'll study real world sounds of whatever environment they're building.
Okay.
Or they might get inspired by like music, movies, even just everyday sounds that have a certain vibe.
So it's like they're creating their own sound palette, like a painter.
Yes, exactly. And once they have all that, they start layering, playing with different textures and rhythms.
Right.
They might use computer-generated sounds, real instruments, even just recorded noises.
So there's a lot of like experimenting, right?
Oh, yeah, totally. It's all about trial and error.
Gotcha.
They often work super closely with the game devs, testing things out, seeing what fits best.
Right, because things probably change a lot during development.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Wow.
So they got to be flexible.
It's a real balancing act then.
Exactly, like a dance between, you know, the art and the tech.
That's a great way to put it. This has been so eye-opening, or should I say, ear-opening.
I like that.
So as we wrap this up, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I'd say the next time you're gaming, take a second to really listen to the sound design.
Okay.
Close your eyes, just listen to how it all comes together. You'll be amazed by how much it adds to the whole experience.
I know I am. It's like a whole new world.
Right. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. And for anyone who wants to learn even more, I cannot recommend Game Audio with FMOD and Unity enough.
Such a good book.
It's a deep dive in every sense of the word.
It is.
Until next time, folks, keep those speakers rocking.